Hey, dude. So you really expect me to believe that you never podcasted or did any kind of radio before? Really? Come on. I'm not an idiot, dude.
Is this a bathroom?
Yes. So, you want to see my YouTube? I would love to see your YouTube like suggestion page. It'd be fucking funny. It would be like you'd have like some mantras on there. There'd be like fucking universal, like just shit about the fucking universe and like really deep shit. That's like, what if? Like my shit is like look, this is my shit. So there's like history, like different battles, fucking, there's like some space. I'm getting more into space shit. So there's just the end of time, interstellar empires.
Let's see what's on my. Well, right now I'm listening to a channeled being called Elon. I'm listening to part 2 of 3, definition and deservability. The first one was I forgot. All right, my YouTube. So we have a channel. Oh, Flat Earth Dome explained 100%.
I've listened
to a lot of flat earth things.
I have shit like that on my YouTube suggestions, but only because I listen to like other shit, and I'm just like, I watch some and I'm just like, nah, bro.
I like the passion that people have behind it. Like,
they're so
I just think
passionate.
they're using such like wrong figures and wrong data.
Like,
I just like it all comes down to me like what would be the point of just for that deception.
There's like a wall.
Like some of the Antarctica shit is cool. Like
Yeah,
interesting.
like there's a wall in Antarctica that you can't get past. Like,
If you're, let's say there are overlords watching over the Earth. It's like playing a game of Risk or The Sims, you know, where it's like you don't want the game knowing that it's a game.
I understand that, but like how does the game
about, like,
change if
fucking
it's
Truman
on a
Show?
sphere versus a piece of paper? To me, it's like what would be the purpose of, except for just another.
Like maybe we are divine beings on a plane and it's not a globe. And then I don't fucking know.
But then why have us observe things in the sky that are clearly spherical? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
What are those dots? Well, I was watching.
And like even ancient times, like you know, there's no fucking light pollution. Like and you can see Mars or like a fucking planet, and it's like, yo,
those motherfuckers
is-
knew what was up. Like the shit that exists from that time. Whoever, you know, I don't want to say who or did or didn't build shit,
right
but
now. That's like a little bit.
So also I have Archangel Michael twin flame message.
Yo, you and AB are probably bond over that shit.
Saturn and the occult, gods and symbolism. That sounds awesome. The feeling is the prayer. In prayer, people pray from lack. That's the problem. When people are praying, they say, please bring this to me. Please deliver this to me. If you give thanks, that's the feeling. The feeling is you're supposed to feel good when you pray. So when you give thanks and pray, you get more to be thankful for. So that's what they mean when they say the feeling is the prayer.
So this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joe Dispenza, shout him out, gets really deep into that. It's like you need something to amplify the message. Like you can't just come in with thought, you need emotion to like accelerate, as like a bass needs an amplifier.
Right.
Like if you just pray with thought, you don't get the same as if you use thought and that powerful emotion of like happiness, that feeling. And it talks a lot about like...
To me, it's like resonating at a frequency.
Yes.
Like to further the electrical metaphors, it's like once you resonate with that frequency, you're only in line with that frequency.
Everything comes down to energy vibrating. That's essentially what everything is.
So Nicky, last night we had this weird conversation about
Nicky boy.
how I wanted a number to equal something. And the number came out to be like 1033 or something like that. And whenever you have a repeating numbers, you do addition to them, the numbers always seem to repeat.
Okay.
You know, like 333, you add 333, and then you just have 3, 6,
You know,
9,
it's
3,
weird.
6, 9.
When I was driving down, there's a little stupid Fiat. I don't really like those cars. Nothing against them, I just don't like the way they look. I forget what the first 2 letters were, but it was 2 letters, 3333.
Wow.
Which was like, wow. I thought you would like that. I know you love those repeating.
Yeah. So what I'm seeing with these repeating patterns, right, is if you're in line, right, and let's say 111 plus 111 plus 111 plus 111, it's always it's always the same thing over and over again. And once you're aligned with the universe, you start seeing these numbers repeating because it's just like you're so in line that your life is also in line, the same as the equation is in line. So when you see numbers, they're also in line.
I always see numbers.
I got
When you start seeing
numbers on my phone. I just take screenshots of now. Just
Yeah,
to be like,
I got a couple from last night.
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday I got fucking 12-12 and 12-22.
Dude, I'm so
I was just like, I've been getting a lot of 2s. Like, I got fucking 2-22 that one night. I've been getting like 12s and fucking just like 22s. I'm like,
Yeah,
just a lot of 1s and 2s. Like, and I'm like, all right.
Last night I got back from the bar. Like, I went to meet up with friends because, you know, sober October and March. And I got home at 1, 2, 3, and it's March 4th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which is pretty dope, I thought.
I was at the Moth Coffee House in Allentown, and I saw a friend sitting there, and they're actually rehearsing Bible verses. You believe that? So talked to them for a little bit. Hey, can I have a seat? And they have little newspaper clippings on the tables. This one said 333 Montgomeryville Street for sale. And I was like, huh, you know, that's funny. I pointed to it. You okay?
I'm just coughing a fucking good weed. What the fuck?
Right, so I see that and I pointed out to them. I'm like, oh, look, that's, you know, significant. And they're like, what? Like, they said the name of the street. And I was like, no, like, they're repeating threes.
The numbers,
yeah. And, like, they're just like, oh, what, really? Like, because everyone in my life is, like, has been noticing them at this point. I think everyone's noticing them. And then, like, they didn't even notice it. So I sit down with them, right? Listen to what they're talking about. They said, so if a businessman starts a business to feed the homeless, is that wrong? Like, because he's trying to make money? And I thought to myself, it depends on what the man is doing. Is the man trying to feed the homeless? Because if the man is trying to feed the homeless and he needs to start a business in order to do so,
what's the intention?
Then that is what he's doing, and he's feeding the homeless.
Right.
You know, he just has to form a business because it's 2018, and that's what you have to do these days in order to start a business to feed the homeless. And I realized, like, that's what I'm doing.
Right.
Like, that's like
that is pretty crazy.
That's what I'm like. That was
talking about what your goals are. Is like,
yeah. I want to feed everybody. Like, I want to feed the homeless. Like, I want to feed everybody.
I mean, obviously, like, in order to feed people, like, you need money. In order to get money, you have to sell something. As long as your morals are from the right spot, like, then it's good. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with making money. What are you doing with that money? Are you greedy with it and it's all for you? Are you using that to benefit others? Money can be time. Like, are you using your time to benefit people, or are you using your time to benefit yourself? Obviously, we all have to work on ourselves, but a good way to work on ourselves is to do good for others.
Yeah.
It's one of the best feelings you can ever get is helping someone do something. It's amazing. Just like in my brain, like, one time I'm either flying or going on the subway to get where I need to go. I'm walking down. All of a sudden I see a lady she got 2 kids plus a stroller and a kid. I had my headphones in, flip-flops on. I didn't even say a word. I just turn around on the stairs, take the front of the stroller. We lock eyes. We go, listen, I'm going to help you right now, without any words. Walked her down, put it down, went on my way. No words were exchanged. I can't even imagine having 3 little kids at my ankles.
Yo.
Just trying to. A basic thing is walking down the steps would have been such an activity for her, and boom, just a simple act. But how many people stop and do that for her?
I had the kids with me.
Not
I was
enough.
like, yo,
Yes.
I'm about to just take the kids to a baseball game. Fuck it. Like,
Right.
I bring my 2 boys to a baseball game. This is gonna be easy. We go to get food, and I'm trying to keep them in line, and like, I was like, oh my fucking god.
Kids'
like,
minds are just right there
I was like,
everywhere.
yo, how does she deal with this shit?
Yeah,
all the
it
time?
really puts
Like,
things in
I was
perspective,
like, yo, and then we got food, and I was like, fuck it, because like, littlest one wanted to be held.
Right,
Like, I had to like keep him, but like the oldest one is like just holding shit, like wandering off. So I had to like corral him with one arm while I'm holding the food with the other arm, and like the other, and like shit was just, it was like too much, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? And people were just like looking at me like I'm doing. I'm like, yo, what? Like, there's like 4 of you. Like, what do you be like, yo, help? I'll give you some help, bro. Like, I'll at least hold like your food for you, so you can hold the kids, like, or some shit. Like,
and everybody,
and I was like, yo,
most people have gone through that struggle. Like, most people have had kids. They know how hard it is to deal. But it's like, you almost get selfish, and it's like, oh, you can fucking deal with it. Like, why not just? We're all just struggling on this world together, trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
Juan, turn that fucking TV off.
no, what? I'm in my house. What? Fuck you, in my house. What the fuck?
We're recording a podcast. You gonna put some shit on right now?
No, I'm just looking at shit.
Are you sure?
I am. I'm just looking at shit. God. Turn my TV.
Roman Empire. Ooh, let's watch that one. It's like,
Yo.
Dude, Rome's pretty dope. Well, I was listening to the one you guys did, and you were talking about. So I think most people agree that we, like, humans came from Africa. Like, we started there and moved out. And we were talking about how, like, those with less melatonin in their skin went to the west and, like, north up to, like, England and Europe. And it's all, like, rocky, shitty, fucking.
There's no fucking.
And, like, other people went east towards, like, China and stuff, and, like,
India and fucking.
it's really, really interesting, because definitely a lot of history gets, obviously growing up in America, gets white spun, and the fact that Europe was so dominating for so many years gets white spun. Like, the fact that people think Jesus was a white guy with blonde hair and blue eyes is like, dude, he's definitely brown.
Yeah,
He came out of the
definitely. There's
Middle
no
East.
way he's not brown.
Like, plus I
they
always
at least
wonder,
had a
like,
tan. They didn't have sunscreen back then.
sunscreen's horrible for you.
You know, some people just have to do something.
It's like, some sun is good, too much is bad, and, like, what's the balance? Like, you need to obviously be
I
exposed
think
to
too
it.
much sun is once you're burnt. I burn, like, my first time out in the spring, I'll burn. The rest of the season, my body's just going, okay, now the sun's
Yeah.
out. I think it's, I don't
But
think
then
we have anything
again,
to fear as far
also,
as the
I
sun.
think definitely your body's ability to repair itself is definitely impeded by what you're exposed to on a daily basis. Like, what you eat, what you drink, the air you breathe, the environment you're living in, the mental state you're in, the stress in your life. Like, all of that affects your body's ability to repair itself. I forget where I heard it, but it was talking about people with multiple personalities or, like, split personality disorders. One personality could say get sick from something, but the other personality wouldn't. Which, like,
Wow.
that shattered my brain. Like, if you had another personality and he was allergic to fucking cats, but, like, when your personality flipped, you're not allergic to cats anymore. So that's, like, just goes in how much more our bodies, our mental side versus our physical intake, or, like, what we're...
My brain just clicked right there. I'm seeing a DNA reaction. I'm seeing someone's DNA flip and another soul takes over that body. Once the DNA flips, also the gene for whatever.
So, right,
that
the
also
genes get
flips.
turned on. You can activate and deactivate genes. So, like, just because your DNA is XYZ, which it's obviously not how DNA works, but that doesn't mean, like, you're actually utilizing the X, Y, and Z. Like, you have to actually activate the gene, and you can actually change your epigenetics. It's wild stuff. Yeah.
But what if that is it?
And what if, like, so a lot of times what I think is, like, what if our ability to quantify and figure this stuff out is really just our figuring out, like, the divinity, and, like, once we hit, like, the answer, like, Big Bang, and it all explodes again, or something like that, like, or maybe not. Once you figure it out, like, knowing it, just your brain explodes, literally, like, the whole universe explodes, all the energy just whoosh.
Maybe once you figure it out, that's when you realize how much of a creator you actually are, and you start doing all those things that you think you can do, like right now.
Right.
Like, it's like with nothing holding you back, with no one telling you, oh, you should get a job, no one telling you, oh, I think you should do it this way. What I've learned is, without having an investor in any of the endeavors I've gotten into, I've been allowed to think as freely as possible without having to think about money or think about paying the investor back or what they'll think about my idea. Like, my ideas have been able to be just as aloof as they are. You know, like, think about, you guys have worked on the truck. Think about what's on the truck. Think about what we've done with that truck. You know, given the little we have, we've provided food.
It's like the most ghetto rig thing, but it's like, it works. Like,
it works like a
we
charm.
make it happen. Like, yeah, could it be, you know, a better truck? Sure. Could you have cooler equipment or better, or that you know, you're giving out good food to people. Like,
and it's a very efficient
works,
machine.
You know, low cost, get it going, and
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
especially for, you know, to start out, to be able to manifest those trucks into your existence, be able to bring the people you need to run them, and just, I was saying earlier, like, yeah, you know, like, the money side of it, obviously, like, we're not there for the money. We're there to help you, and it enables you to grow, which is, that's it. And and we help people that way.
I think it's so cool that we are helping each other. You know, like, I want to see you, and I also want to go to music festivals, and you also want to go to music festivals, and you also want to help me. So it's like we're all just helping each other, and in doing that, we're all elevating each other to that next level.
We all bring ourselves up, and we all individually, you know, get to experience that positivity we're looking for. We get to do that thing we want, while also helping somebody out. Like, how do you get any better? You're doing what you want, and what you want is also helping somebody who needs it. and they're doing what they want. That's crazy.
You know what I was really impressed with this year? So for Meadows, right? So Meadows was the last festival. Well, it wasn't the last big festival we did, but it was one of the last bigger festivals we did. And so we're pretty deep into it now. That's like 2 seasons of doing these music festivals, you know? And at the Meadows, we had Bear Burger and Von Luton ice cream, right? Ice cream is just scooping out ice cream. There's 4 people working on that truck. Bear Burger is this huge operation with a giant truck.
Their trailer is huge.
And
that's a legit restaurant that has multiple locations across the country.
Right.
Or at least the East Coast. Yeah.
And they're just cranking food out because that's their job. It's not like...
Right.
It's
they're there for work.
Yeah. And we were the 3rd truck behind them. Like, as far as profits...
Oh, did you actually get, like, a break? Like, they told you that?
Yeah. I was able to see, you know, I said, how do I rank?
Right.
And she was really impressed because, you know, the vegan truck was cranking out that much food.
So you're talking...
Not only that...
You're talking just revenue, like...
Yeah, revenue.
Like fucking tickets sold or whatever.
Like
profit. Money, net sales.
Sales, yeah.
Like, literally, it's just, they're like, who the fuck are these kids just coming in? These vegan kids, like, these kids can't do this.
For these goofballs that are enjoying the festival. No, is anyone even on the truck?
They're looking at who's working. They're like, yo, whose grandma's kitchen did you fucking steal?
Yeah.
Like, look at these fucking countertops.
You fucking brought your mom's toaster. You brought a toaster. He's got a blender. Someone went to ShopRite this morning and you're just slinging food.
Yeah,
out.
like we see the ShopRite boxes, like all the clear, like I can look in.
It's funny,
clear,
like
just funny, yeah.
I love thinking about like how basic it is and how like it shouldn't exist, but it does, and it fits so perfectly. And honestly, like not even being vegan, but like seeing the faces of people that are, and just being so grateful that we're existing there for them.
That's why I was saying,
like that's feeding the needy essentially.
Like that's it. That's why like there's literally nothing like that here. There isn't really shit here, period.
There isn't anything anywhere. Dude.
I've grown up around here.
And what's interesting is
like, there's nothing
as
like
we
that.
drove out, like those developments that are getting put up, that green 175 or whatever it was, right before the police station, and like all these building, like these complexes.
Yep.
This
right
place
here
is coming around.
Is not far. And yeah, you have the city side and definitely all the schools and stuff.
If
I know I can sound very negative a lot of the time. I'm very pessimistic.
Optimists are the reasons why they're airplanes. Pessimists are the reasons why they're
parachutes. Yes,
exactly.
yes. I saw that. That's funny. I saw that recently, and I was like, "That's 100%." Like, I don't want to stifle.
Damn. You want to build that parachute? Sure.
Yeah.
What if this happens?
Want to know where my parachute
what if this happens? So let's make sure that doesn't happen.
And then sometimes I also think I'm afraid of my own success. Like I'm afraid to be successful.
Yeah.
Like,
why?
Because sometimes I feel like my success takes away from like someone else's. Like I don't like to.
It's not dog eat dog. It's like it's all about growth. This is a playground.
Right, but like I don't know. I don't like feeling better than someone. Like
you don't have to.
And
you're in control of what you think. You know, like I
are you?
I used to.
Are you in control of your thoughts?
You remember me, Bill? I used to wear Burberry. I used to wear Movado. I used to wear Lacoste. I used to love having a BMW.
Right.
But for the wrong reasons. And then once you grow and you realize that stuff doesn't matter, and you realize we're all equal, and like no matter what you do on this ride, you're still equal to the next man.
Yes.
It's like then like the success comes, and it's just like as long as you know that about yourself.
It's definitely I know what you're saying. It's definitely an internal issue where I guess I feel less than other people. So I think that when I explain my successes, that the other person is going to feel less than me. Not that I think they're less than me. I don't want them to think that.
It's like a societal conditioning, though.
Definitely,
living in, especially like the West, like fucking that whole like pretty much like capitalist society, man. Like it really like it's like a capitalist caste system. It's just
getting lost in the capital side where like you're in a constant buy mode. There's benefits to capitalism, but also they're like
no,
democracy is the best form. Is the worst form of government, except every other form of government.
Yeah.
It's not
It's
perfect.
the best that we've come up with
It has
probably so
tons
far, I
of
would
flaws.
say. Yeah.
But compared to everything else, it's the best we got.
Yeah, it's the best we got. No. I agree with that. It's just like I don't know exactly what the Indian caste system, what the names are. I just know like the high immobility of that. Like you just can't move out.
Right.
Like
right.
obviously we have it better off here.
India's crazy.
We have it
with
much
the level
better
of,
off
like
here.
the poverty swing.
Yeah.
Like when just crossing the street.
Yeah, like we have it much better off here, obviously. It's just crazy how insanely hard it is for people to move from like lower class to middle class to middle class, like.
And I think that is also like societally influenced.
Yeah.
Like
it's by design.
Like if you look at, I don't think it is that hard, but I think you're programmed to feel like it is that hard, so you don't. I think all
you don't
this
even try.
Like government, I think is literally just to keep everything as is.
Yeah, they don't like change, sure.
Like, you know, some people move up, some people move down, but on the overall, everybody's kind of staying where they are, and it doesn't rock the boat too much.
Status quo is generally the
right. It's if you change is hard for everybody. So it's like the less things changes, like the smoother everything seems.
Yeah.
Well, I think as far as the government goes, they have to become tyrannical by design because the goal of them is to stay in power. How do you stay in power? You keep the masses down. You know, regardless.
Yes.
Or you satisfy you, Matt. Or you
right.
satisfy
It's either
absolutely corrupt.
It's either you lead by fear and you keep people oppressed and down, or you lead by rising them up.
Yes.
And it's the people. Who do the people want to follow? You know, do they want to follow the leaders in government, or should they follow the Elon Musks of the world and the Steve Jobs of the world? Like, should they follow and live these people's lives? Live how Leonardo da Vinci lived? Live how Nikola Tesla lived?
Yeah.
Like, these people obviously figured out how to live. If you look at their patterns, they slept differently. They ate differently. What did they do that was different? How did they get there? What did they figure out? That's why I'm studying these people. I'm trying to figure that out.
What did they know that got lost?
What I've noticed is every time you break an addictive pattern, you go up a level. Like every addictive pattern you break, it's like that's another board you've completed. And we're playing Mario. One is cigarette. Like right now, you're doing Sober October.
I think anytime you set a goal and achieve that goal, like right now, Sober October, I'm not drinking, I'm not smoking, and I'm not smoking. So I don't think necessarily that I don't think it's holding me back if I do or don't, but I think setting the goal of I'm not smoking for 31 days, and at the end, in April 1st, if yes, I didn't smoke, I think that in itself brings me up. Not because it's a bad negative habit that it potentially like overcome, it's because like I'm hitting that goal of something I wanted. You know what I mean? Kind of like when you put a vision board, you put all your effort into that thing, so you're obviously more likely to accomplish that thing you're setting your focus to.
I think the more good that the universe or whoever is watching over you sees you doing for yourself, the more good will be put in your place.
Right, yeah, definitely because the more positive energy you put out is definitely going to bring more positive energy to you.
Right, once you stop thinking about, fuck, why am I having this fucking cigarette? Why the fuck am I having this fucking cigarette?
I've gotten deep on that thought.
It's a negative thought. So as soon as you eliminate that thought, you're free from it. So you're allowed to think more positively, and you're allowed, because once I quit nicotine, that's when my brain was able to start thinking, because my brain was so distracted with having that next cigarette. When was I going to get it? When was I going to take that break? Now I'm just free to think about whatever and not even have that monkey on my back. So that's why I quit the caffeine, and I saw what I'd like. Right now I'm as clean as I can be, and it's so cool to be able to just think.
Yes. So, okay. This is going to get a little woo-woo, but I'm cool with that, so hopefully you guys are too. So obviously, general science agrees that nicotine is addiction. They've done a lot of addiction studies, so I don't necessarily believe that it's, and feel free to check the science, but the reason you're having the cigarette is not because your body needs the nicotine. I think you're addicted to a feeling that you're trying to recreate. I remember the first cigarette I had. My first cigarette was, I was 14 with my buddy who smoked at a mall. He bought a pack of Dejarum Blacks, which I don't even know how you buy cigarettes at 14 because that's not a legal age. They just sold them to you because he was a mall rat. We went outside, so he gave me my first cigarette. So that was my friend, someone I trusted, I knew cared about me. So that created a feeling of like, almost like you're sharing love in a sense. So is every cigarette a like almost a time machine back to that, trying to recreate that feeling. Heroin. Everybody says that you chase that first high was such a great feeling. Like, are we just stuck trying to recreate that? And once you let go of that, trying to chase, like you free yourself from the past and are able to move forward when you decide to like nix it. You know what I'm like, you see what I'm getting at?
I don't like relationships, man. You try to chase that feeling of your first love.
Yes,
how nice
definitely.
is that first feeling after like and then you're just like, oh.
I think love in general. I think those feelings in general are just great.
Like you search that feeling, that connection. Like I think it's so much more than just you're addicted to this chemical. That chemical is screaming. Like I'm not saying that's the end all be all. I don't think anything in life is that simple. I think everything is, multiple pieces moving around, and you can't just pin one piece. You need all of them together.
Yeah. Most deaf.
Yummy.
I don't know, man. I feel like it's so much like like you were saying, man. Like giving up each addiction is like a level up. Like I definitely agree with that.
Like you're allowed to move forward by letting go of the past. Like you can't learn something. Like your brain only has X amount of space, so you can't like learn something new without forgetting something. By releasing that, you're able to move forward and up the level by forgetting about what you're leaving. Kind of like when you move on from you have an ex-girlfriend, and you move on, you go to the next one. Like you're able to move your life on, and just simply releasing, whether it's a good or a bad, and going to that next step. Like that is the
next level.
The stepping. American Pie shouted out. Enough with the stepping. All right.
Yeah, I think it's not only addiction; it's every like bad behavior, like every. Like, you shouldn't treat someone poorly.
Anything you do that you shouldn't be doing.
Right.
Like, obviously everybody gets, you get caught up in the moment. Depending on where you think humans came from, whatever, like some sort of evolution I hope you're in agreement with. But like, flight or flight, like that comes over you and you just kind of react. You look back at it 5 minutes later, you feel so bad because
Is that what that is?
I didn't want to react that way. I didn't mean, like, I'm not, like, you just kind of, like, I know from myself, like, sometimes I get questions or, like, comes at me or asks me something, like, I feel, not attacked, but I feel instantly like I need to come on the defensive.
Yeah, you're challenged.
I know my fight or flight is, like, I see red real quick, and I don't want to, I don't mean it. Like, even with my friends, we argue all the time. Like, I know, like, sometimes my tone or my volume gets, like, through the roof, but, I know that's not what I want to be projecting. And so after, when it's not, like, that's why I texted you that one morning, because I woke up and it was still in my brain. I'm like, I got to get it out. I need to know that he knows that's not the intention.
I appreciate it. I was there.
Right. And that, I just, like, for me, it was, like, I was holding on to that, and I needed to let that go so I can move to the next step, because you just hold on to that feeling. Dude. Which was it was a weird thing. Like, I needed to release that because it had a grip on me. That whatever was in the air.
That's the thing. Like, we were able to communicate about it and it was over.
Right.
That's the thing. A lot of people are afraid to communicate about it because, like, people hold on to grudges with family members for years because they're afraid to talk about it.
I didn't talk to my sister for a year.
And then you talked about it.
Did I ever tell you that? It's like, you know how, like, when you ever break, like, when you break something down, you look back and it's like, that's so nothing. Yeah. Or like when you start explaining your problems to somebody else and they're looking at you all squirrely eyed, like, what the fuck? Like, that's not anything to worry about at all. All right. So I'm the youngest, and I have 2 older sisters. So she's the oldest child. We're very similar. So we grew up kind of butting heads.
How much older is she?
She's 4 years. Her birthday's 10 days away from mine. So maybe I hold on to a lot of energy about, like, sharing birthdays with family, never feeling like, definitely could be it could be psychoanalyzed so deep. But we definitely grew up with a rocky relationship, and I had a much closer relationship with my middle sister. And it's stupid. So the summer going into college, right after just graduated, so I threw 3 parties when my parents went away. The first one, I didn't tell them about it, like my sisters. So my sister comes home at the first one, party's underway, everybody's hammered. We're actually running out of beer, so I, like, run out to the driveway, I explain to her what's going on, I'm like, and I actually convince her to go to the liquor store and buy me alcohol. I bought her a bottle of wine. And so she, like, is the reason this party keeps going. So party 2. Nothing, no real crazy things, but like that morning after I had work, so I left the house and then came back and cleaned. So I guess like maybe they had a little bit of dirty house to deal with or whatever. Party 3, Keg shows up. She's there. She's like, what the F is going on? And I'm like, listen, I'm having a party. And she's like, no, you're not. She calls my parents who are in Massachusetts.
Oh.
So almost a 5-hour drive for their anniversary. They just left that day. Guess who turns around?
Damn.
So I was mad because I felt like she could have handled it differently. Obviously, I could have too. I could have not had the party, even though I'm 18. I promised my parents I wasn't going to throw this party.
There's a code.
So she's 22.
Oh.
So I'm like, so she's kind of pissed because she never did anything like this, or she wasn't allowed. And it's not like I was allowed to do it. You being the younger child, you get
do it.
The rules get looser. And you get in less trouble for shit. Like, you can try more shit because they tried a little bit, then the second one tried a little more, and I'm trying the most. So, my dad, the next day, he didn't talk to me for a week. Because I had promised him to his face that I wouldn't throw another party. And that disappointment in his face when he came to the pool where I was working, all my friends were in the office with me. He said hello to every single one of my friends and walked on without acknowledging me. And that's how I knew I fucked up. So back to my sister I felt like so betrayed by her because she seemed so like not okay with the parties, but like she allowed them to happen. And then like my dad not speaking to me, I felt betrayed by my sister. So like I cut her out. I stopped referring to her as my sister. I called her my mother's daughter, and legitimately didn't speak for a year. So obviously went to college. When I came back, my first year was crazy because like I got sick and came home, and like I remember her walking in. I'm sitting in the living room watching TV. She goes, "Hey Bill, what's going on?" Nothing. Not even like nothing happened. Like the wind was blowing, and she's tried a few more times, and she just gone. We've never gotten deep into I think like psychologically evaluated what happened, but like we've acknowledged that. To bring this full circle, I talked to my sister now. We have a very close relationship. She actually her husband couldn't make a wedding that she was attending, and she actually brought me. I mean, you go from we didn't talk to it for a year to like I'm your date, not to get fucking weird on this out, but like she brought me to like that's how much closer we are now, which is amazing. It's so
crazy.
It's amazing, like holding on to that negative. It holds you back, and just like being able to release that and realize like how I didn't talk to my sister for a year because she told my parents I had a party. That's what it comes down to. And the anger and the hate and like that's all internal. Like all that shit is you internalizing it and projecting it onto when you don't get along with somebody. Most of that is like something you did inside your brain, some way you interpret what they might be thinking or not. Like it's so crazy.
Yeah.
Like like a full year. It's insane to think of. Like I could have been so petty, hold on to something so silly, and just not like be able to get past that. It's like
well, you learn, man. Like you're younger. Like we all come from a different.
Isn't it amazing how much you think you know at 18 and just how fucking dumb you are?
I never thought I knew anything.
Oh my God. At 14, I thought I ruled the world. At 18, a senior? Are you kidding me? Had a car. Girls want to suck your dick for no reason, but you're a senior. Like you feel like you got the world at your fingertips, and you know dick. You know dick.
Yeah.
Shit, I didn't have a job. I had a summer job, bringing in like a few grand a summer to last me the whole fucking rest of the year. Yeah. You know nothing.
Dude, it's funny you mentioned that party because I lived the complete opposite with my little brother. Like I was the exact same way. I was the first child. I couldn't do anything. Like I got in trouble. I actually got like. My parents said, Vincent, no TV for a week. It meant no TV for a week.
And man, I didn't watch TV. Yeah, that's crazy.
So with Andrew, it was, Andrew, no TV for a week. The next day he's playing video games.
Right.
I'm like, I get it. He's the last one. He's the cutest.
Yes.
They love him, whatever.
It's not that they care. They just, parents are realizing that you don't need to be that in control and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Like I think they just kind of released that like control factor, and like each time you
Well,
see
they realized
you need less and less to get the same outcome.
The thing is, I paved the way for him.
Yes.
Because if I wasn't such a good kid, he wouldn't be able to do the things he did. Like if I was a rebel and I did bad things, they would assume, or maybe I would even...
Maybe not even. It could have been worse in the fact that they realized that they can't control you, so what's the sense of trying to control number 2 or 3?
Plus, he would have a bad role model.
Right.
Plus, he would see me doing bad things. Not saying he would necessarily be bad, but it's different.
You're more inclined to emulate, especially a family member that you look up to for the good or the bad that they do.
But anyway, back to him being looser. So back when he was like 16 years old, my parents went out on vacation. I think they went to Italy, and I was in college, or I just graduated, one of those, maybe 21, 22. So it was me and a bunch of my friends. We're all just drinking beer, like hanging out, like no music on, no nothing. We're just hanging out. And then Andrew, we decided to allow Andrew to throw a party. Lino Palooza, it was entitled after the fact.
Oh, what a nerd.
So what this was a bunch of 16-year-olds, right? I had a girlfriend at the time.
Yeah, it's rough. 16's rough.
And RJ was also at my house, and so was my sister. So we have Andrew, RJ, me, my girlfriend at the time, Deanna, and we had Jacqueline.
Right.
Those are the adults. And then all of a sudden, kids start showing up, right? And my sister leaves.
Dude, at 16, when word gets out, there's a party. People come out of they come out of everywhere.
And my sister leaves, and so does RJ for some reason. They want to pick some shit up, because I think they're getting food. So...
Back when your life was controlled by food.
Yeah, so me and Deanna are sitting upstairs, right? And it's getting loud. Like, they're getting loud, and the music's getting louder. I'm hearing banging. And there's gotta be, like, 20 kids down there at least.
Definitely.
And I don't want to go down there alone. Like, I don't know what's going on, what they're gonna do, like, how they're gonna react. I don't know these kids. So I go downstairs, right? And it is just a shit show of my brother is wasted. Did I go up to him like, Andrew, are you drunk? He goes, no, I'm okay. I'm not drunk. You're wasted.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I'm trying to talk to you as your brother. So we go and we look in the other side, and like they got into my parents' wine cellar. So they're just drinking a bunch of red wine also.
That's rough.
On top of all, like they had alcohol, they had beer. I provided them with that. So they went through that and they went to the wine cellar. So they're drinking. I see one kid like knock over a beer, and I see one kid who's like,
hey, if you want to catch up with Vince on your own, then you need to visit catchingupwithvince.com.